Welcome to Mindfulness Monday. We're lucky enough to be joined by Vivian Hermes, a certified mindfulness facilitator. She will lead us through this mindfulness practice. And Vivian, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason, and welcome all to Mindfulness Mondays. I invite you, before we even start, to coming into your bodies by stretching, yawning, and you can you can constrict or flex or point your feet and then release. Create that contrast of tension and release. Doing that at your own pace. We do this practice in a variety of postures, and including eyes open, eyes closed, or anything in between. If you are going to have your eyes open, I just invite you to maintain a very soft gaze, and that's just to not get the mind ramped up around any particular object. So there's nothing sacred or sanctified about eyes open or closed, but we're trying to really allow our mind to be movable, flexible enough that we can move our awareness from one thing to the next. And we're going to start with that 3-point check-in. Again, as we often do in this session, this allows us to take stock of what's going on in our mind, what's going on in our emotional body, and what's going on in our physical body. And then we'll shift to a breath practice. So first and foremost, offering your attention to the mind, and most of us experience mind somewhere in between and above our ears. So sending your attention there and begin to notice what sort of mind am I experiencing in this moment. Not getting caught up in any story as to why the mind is showing up this way right now. This practice time is an allowing of whatever it is that wants to bubble up to the surface to bubble up. We can always go into explanations and reasons and fix-it mode after we finish this practice. So those all can be saved for after. But for this time, can I be with myself just as I am, not having to shift it or change it or manipulate it in any way? And so first we'll start with the mind. Does it feel alert, present, or foggy and scattered? Is it curious? Is it confused? Is it open? Is it feel strained? Or does it feel somewhat relaxed, easeful? And for those of us that don't do this on a regular basis, going in to describe our state of mind might be indescribable, actually. And that's okay too. You can just offer your attention up into that mind area, what you would consider to be your mind, and get curious. What sort of mind am I working with right now? And these periods of silence are an opportunity for you to take in the prompt that I've shared and see what the mind does with it. Does it stay with it? Does it go off on its own tangent? Does it go and then come back? So it's very intentional, these periods of silence, to allow you to navigate and see what bubbles up. And in that same way that you are offering the attention up into the mind area, see if you can begin to drop it down into your heart and chest area. And this is often where we experience our emotional body, or where we feel the physical sensations of our emotions more strongly. It's definitely not the only place where we feel our emotions. We start here. Just start to notice if there are any physical sensations that you can link back to an emotion. So emotions come up as physical sensations. And as we do this kind of practice, we get to know ourselves a little better, to know what combination of physical sensations actually link back to a particular emotion. And so we do this by noticing, what emotion am I feeling? And then getting curious about the layer underneath of, how do I know that that's the emotion that's here? How does it exhibit? How does it show up in my body? So when we're joyful, sometimes we feel a fluttering in the chest or the belly. When we're nervous, we might feel a fluttering in our belly. When we're angry, we might experience some clenching in our face, in our jaw, in our shoulders, sometimes even in our hands. See if you can open up to the emotions that are here. There might be more than one, and you can take them one at a time. And sometimes it might come that the physical sensations arise first. So what comes into your awareness is, oh, I'm feeling this, you know, my shoulders are concave, they're folding in. What emotion might be here related to that? You might notice there's sadness or a sense of insecurity. You might notice there's a smile on your face, and you connect it back to what emotion that might be here, whether it's happiness or contentment, whatever it may be. So sometimes we can name the emotion and dive into the physical sensations, and sometimes we take note of the physical sensations to identify what emotion is here. But what am I feeling in this moment? And from here, let's take stock of how the physical body itself is doing. So you can do this in a number of ways. You can scan the body from the top of the head down to the toes, or upwardly from the toes up to the top of the head, noticing what's happening on the inside of the body, on the surface of the body, noticing any areas of constriction or neutrality. Are there areas that are experiencing any sort of pain or that feel particularly unpleasant? Then noticing the areas that might be pleasant or neutral. Oops. And then the same way that you were just noting the actual sensations without getting caught up in the story as to why it's here, doing the same with the body sensations. Just noticing if there is tightness or tingling or throbbing, numbness, tickling. You might notice dampness or dryness or temperature. Let's stay as close as possible to the actual felt sense experience of the body, not so much getting caught up or cutting off that connection with a story as to why it's happening. In this time, we're just dedicating it to being with our body just as it is, allowing the physical sensations to communicate in the only language they know how, through our sense impressions. How is this body doing overall today? What physical sensations am I experiencing? Am I becoming aware of that tell me that this is so? And now, without changing anything that you're doing other than moving the awareness, let it give focus and foreground to your breathing. Where do you feel the breath the strongest right now? The most common places we check into our breath is at our belly, our chest, or our nostrils. And in that same way that you were giving attention to your physical sensations overall and the state of the body altogether, now we're focusing in on the breath and noticing what are the qualities of breathing? How is my breath showing up in this moment? So noticing that the breath has a beginning, a middle, and end. On the in breath, on the out breath, there's a pause, and then the breath turns with its own beginning, middle, and end to the out breath. And the in breath and the out breath might be very different in length, in depth, in quality. So one might feel deep and one might feel shallow or just less deep. One might feel very smooth and velvety, whereas the other might feel a little bit more labored or jagged. One might feel fast and the other might feel slow. We've been breathing all day, but this may be the first time that you've taken notice of your breathing. So savoring this moment with each breath in and out. Notice if any two breaths are even alike, identical. And as you do this practice, you can take note of any time that the mind wanders, because more than likely it will. And when it does, you might not catch it right away, but when you do catch that it's moved away from the experience of the physical sensation of your breathing, see if you can gently guide it back. You can label the thing that happened as just thinking. The mind is always looking for something novel. And so after a while, noticing the breath might get a little stale, boring for the mind to chew on. And so it'll wander off. It's very normal. But we practice in this way of constantly returning as a way to help sharpen our skills around our sensory clarity, to really get to the granular level of how we experience that emotion or that physical sensation. Honing in our skill of concentration, being able to stick with it no matter what comes up. And building on our ability to be with whatever it is that we experience in that moment. We never know what we're going to find when we open up ourselves in this way to ourselves, to our physical state. Sometimes the sensations might get a little more pronounced, stronger. Other times they've just been waiting for us to recognize them. So they're just there, just as they were. And sometimes they soften. We never really know what we're going to find in that moment. So it's a very brave practice. Continuing to stay with the sensation of breathing. And with each exhale, letting it drop you a little further down into relaxation. And I thought we would take some time today to practice a little bit of loving kindness. And if this sounds good to you, you can bring someone to mind. It doesn't have to be a human, just someone or some being that feels really easy to be around. If you want to continue with the focused breathing, you're welcome to do that as well. Or practice with the loving kindness practice. And if that doesn't resonate, coming back to the breathing. As you think of this being, this wonderful presence in your life, begin to recognize that you really wish so much goodness for them in your heart, in your thoughts, in your actions towards them. And so we're going to put them into words. I'm going to offer up some words, but this particular practice is best done and it really sinks a little deeper when we make the words our own. So you're welcome to modify the phrases in whatever way suits you. And as you reflect and bring them vividly into your mind, you imagine saying to them, may you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be healthy and strong. May you be healthy and strong. May you be serene and at ease. May you be serene and at ease. And may you be happy and peaceful. May you be happy and peaceful. And begin to notice what those words and well wishes feel like coming out of you and touching them. It might be flowing as words, and some of us that are more visual, we might be visualizing it as some sort of energy or light. But notice what it feels like in the body as you offer these well wishes. What's that like? And this loving being, this person, also loves and appreciates you in similar ways and wants those same things for you. So now we're going to imagine that they are giving us those same well wishes. So they say to you, may you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. Begin to notice what it's like to be on the receiving end. They say to you, may you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be healthy and strong. May you be healthy and strong. May you be serene and at ease. May you be serene and at ease. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be happy and peaceful. So notice what it's like to be on the receiving end, it coming out of this lovely, lovely, generous being, friend, loved one, touching into you. Remembering that from a perspective of mindfulness, there's no wrong reaction to this. And so, if for whatever reason it doesn't land, that's normal, as normal as if it does land. Staying gentle with yourself and just taking it as a point of information, a point of data that you're receiving. You can just offer to yourself the intention that you can receive it at some point, or that you hold whatever that might be difficult with some grace, with some kindness. And so, for anything that you might be experiencing that is not kind in this moment, just hold the intention to yourself that this too, may I hold it in kindness. This too, may I also hold it in kindness. Now, offering yourself a little bit of gratitude that you could have been doing anything with the last half an hour and you chose to come and practice in this way. And recognizing that although we definitely individually gain benefits from our practice, that it ripples out to all the people that we come into contact with. Now, taking a deep breath in and out, exhaling audibly if you can, if you feel comfortable, a couple of times, and stretching and moving in whatever way feels nourishing in this moment. And I thank you all for joining today. And I wish you a lovely rest of the week. May your Thanksgiving be lovely.
Thank you very much, Vivian. Thank you very much for attending Mindfulness Monday. We will be right back at it next Monday. Have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Bye all.
Bye.